The Soninke-Marabout Wars began in Gambia in 1850 until 1901. It was essentially a civil war among the Mandinka tribe which erupted on both the north and the south banks of the river. The Marabouts were holy Islamic clerics and teachers, and the Soninke were Mandinka kings. The wars were caused partly by the persistent adherence of the Soninke and their people to the local traditional religions in the form of animism, lax religious practice combined with a taste of alcohol at the same time as adhering to the Islam. Most of the wars were in fact battles and skirmishes, but displaced the large numbers of the people in Gambia. The word Marabout Wars later extended to devout Muslims in general. In Senegal, they were referred to as the Thido by the Wolof. The word Soninke comes from Soni, which is the Mandinka word for the libation of sacrifice. This is not to be confused with the term Soninke that is applied to the Siraul. Islam was brought to the people of Senegambia by the North African traders in the 11th century. When the Portuguese arrived in the area in the 15th century, they were Marabouts in most of the chiefs' courts in the Gambia. These Marabouts would marry local women, thus creating Muslim families in communities that still held on to the beliefs of the traditional animist religion. These religious leaders would over time purchase a portion of for farming as well as for dwellings. Such land was given to them by the local mansas for their services as court secretaries. In these settlements, the Marabouts would build mosques, establish Quranic schools, and teach the new religion of the Islam. These settlements in time developed into Islam towns called Morkunda. These settlements existed in Saloum and Badibu, Niemu, Tumana, Europina, Jara, and Kumbo. The Marabouts regarded those living outside these towns as infidels of Kafirs. Thus, they saw it as their religious duty to extend Islam to these people, which eventually resulted in the Soninke-Marabout Wars, which raged for decades from the 1850s. The wars were similar to many Islamic jihadist movements that emerged in other parts of West Africa in the 19th century. It should be noted that their aims were not just religious, but had political and secular goals. The jihadist movements of the West Africa at the time were the results of deliberate attempt to create new states that were to be based on the foundations of purified and puritanical Islam, as well as bring about social and economic justice. These conflicts have their roots in the past. The Muslims resented their exclusion from political power. They further resented the taxes that were forced to be paid, as many as them to become wealthy through trade and performing rituals for dignitaries and feed peasants alike. To compound matters further, the Marabouts were often targeted for pillaging and plunder by their lax Muslim neighbors. This led to a Marabout uprising in Wulu in 1842, Kumbo in 1855, culminating in Badibu in 1861, but the main area of turmoil was in the Combos, where there was much loss of life, crops, and social upheaval. Even the Jole and the Siri mercenaries were brought in to fray, and no tribe in the region was left untouched. By the middle of the 1870s, the whole of the Combo area was in Marabout control, and the main war aims was largely now forgotten, and both sides fought for political and economic reasons. During the conflicts, the British tried to keep out of it and only intervening when the colony of the British subjects were at risk. After the killing of traveling commissioner by a Marabout leader by the name of Fodi Kaba Dumbuya on the Senkandi in 1901, the British and French in Senegal, Saloum, acted decisively and managed to kill Fadi Kaba, which effectively ended the Soninke-Marabout Wars. The legacy that was left was the replacement of traditional animist ruling class with Marabout leaders, thus putting Islam on the firmer ground. The population displacements created large numbers of refugees among the Wolof, Siri, Sireule, and Fulani. Thus, certain memorable leaders emerged, such as Amathba, who was better known as Mahba Diahu, Fadi Sile, and Fadi Kaba.